Robert. There we go. And so, yeah, we've got about 10 or so people in the audience in person, got 5 people on the Zoom. And so I'm sure some other people might pile in as the meeting goes on, as tends to happen. But thank you, everybody. This is our August meeting for Our Revolution Howard County. We've got somewhat substantive agenda here for today's meeting. We've got first off, we're going to go over our ground rules, introductions for new people, some steering committee updates, talk a little bit about the committees that Our Revolution Howard County has and ways to get involved between meetings, some things that we might need help with as an organization, some things that we've been up to between last month's meeting and this one, hear from our treasurer's report, and then to hear from some of our committees like our Palestinian Solidarity Committee, rent stabilization, which is very much connected to the topic of our meeting tonight, and then plug our social media, talk about some upcoming events in the community, and then to round it out, the panel discussion and presentation on tenant organizations. And so I guess with no further ado, the first thing is the ground rules. We could slide there. So yeah, first off, this is mostly for the people on mute. If you are if you're not talking at the moment, please keep yourself muted just so that we don't, get interrupted by background noise or anything like that. Also, if you want to say something either during the Q&A or just during the general business part, can
recording in progress.
Sorry, raise your hand either virtually or in person. And so there's that. For the Q&A portion at the end, try to keep, if you have a question or comment, try to keep it to a minute or less if possible. Just so that everybody gets a chance to speak. And then, of course, even if you have a disagreement, that's okay, but just please, be respectful when voicing those disagreements. So I guess first we could do introductions, but, I think we like to just do it for, people who are new to our county meeting. So I'm curious, I think I see a few new faces here. Could you maybe raise your hand if this is your first Our Revolution Howard County meeting? See, three new audience members. Happy to hear that. So, you don't have to introduce yourself if you don't want, but we like to just hear, who are you? Where in the county do you live, or maybe you don't live in the county? How did you hear about Our Revolution Howard County? Why did you decide to come today? What are your interests? Anything else that you think is worth sharing? And so maybe we can start with you, ma'am.
My name is Harriet Bachman. I live in Columbia. I heard about it from a friend in Baltimore, and I've been interested in trans rights for probably before many of you were born.
Yes. You said Harriet? You said you're in Columbia? And which village in Columbia?
I live in the not in the village.
Oh, okay. I see. Got it. Well, thank you for being with us.
Hi, my name is Ana Cortez, and I've lived here in Columbia since 1996. I do remember seeing a flyer at a local bagel shop, well, not so recently, some months back, on rent stabilization.
Awesome. Well, thank you. And Anna's also on our steering committee, but we got that on the next slide after this. But yes, thank you, Anna. And then
yeah, hi, I'm Jake from Baltimore, and heard about RREV through some Palestine solidarity work. So I know, from a protest even in January of this year. I think that was maybe my introduction. And yeah, I'm with Kevin and the Party for Socialism and Liberation, so I'm here to support my comrade Kevin and hear the important work that you all are doing.
Yes, and good to see you. You were in the lobby meetings when we met the legislature. Yes, good to see you again from a fellow Jake. Yeah, sorry, people at home. I know it's tough to hear when audience members speak. But we only had 3 new audience members in person, but we could maybe go to the Zoom audience. I see we've got some new attendants, mainly Lay and Cassie. And so if both of you are, both or either of you are available, want to, come off mute and, introduce yourselves real quick. Certainly welcome to. Cassie, if maybe we want to start with you. If you're not available, we could certainly go to Lay, if you're around and want to introduce yourself.
Hi, my name is Leandra. I go by Lay. I live in Oakland Mills and Columbia Point, and I'm here to support. I don't know how I heard about our revolution, but I am here to support and hear more about tenant unions in the county.
Awesome. Well, thank you for being here, Lay. And yeah, Cassie, if you want to introduce yourself, if you're available, you can, or we can move on. Robert's also online. He's our secretary, of course. People most likely know him. And then Paulette is one of our panelists, and so we'll wait to introduce her later. Yeah, so thank you all for coming. I don't think we have to do steering committee introductions, but I'm Jake, one of the co-chairs. Pat.
I'm Malik. I'm
Yes.
Francis here, treasurer.
Yes, and then
Robert's
online as the secretary, Sanad, at-large member, and then Anna. Yes, thank you, Anna. And Anna is helping plan. We're trying to get into the habit of doing monthly social events, and so Anna's been helping with that. So thank you, Anna. And so yeah, next we have, and I should also say that we do have one vacancy on our steering committee right now, and so if anybody wants to get involved either with some of the issues that we're about to touch on, or maybe some other pressing, we do like to focus a lot on county stuff, and so but if there's anything you want to get involved, if you feel that your values align with this group, we've got a vacancy on the steering committee if you're interested. But yeah, so the committees that we do have that do things between monthly meetings, some are very active, some are just ideas that we'd like to see these committees come into fruition. But our social media, we could use some help with that. That previous steering committee member, she was running our social media. And welcome, sir. This is our Revolution Howard County monthly meeting. We are about to do a panel discussion on tenant organizations in the county. Are you a tenant by any chance? Homeowner. Well, hey. Yes, you're welcome. Whether you're a homeowner or a tenant, you're welcome. So thank you for joining. What was your name?
My name is John. I used to attend a lot of community meetings, so
yes.
Your hustle.
Yes. Well, I appreciate it, John. Appreciate it.
Try to support your numbers up.
Yes. No. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. So yeah, we people have experience with social media. It'd be great. We have a committee that follows and reports on what's going on. The Columbia Association, that Kat is leading that. Palestine solidarity efforts that Malik's leading on, and he will be sharing some of that committee's efforts shortly. There's the tenant associations and rent stabilization work that we're involved with the Rent Stabilization Coalition, which again, basically the main theme of our panel discussion tonight. And then Union Solidarity Committee, Anti-Moms for Liberty and Combating Fascism at the local level. Those are committees that aren't as active, but if people are interested in being involved, love that. Also, county legislation, board of education, state legislation, electoral committee to help, find candidates, run candidates, community visibility and outreach that, have us table at events, make people aware of us, direct service, social events. These are all things if, people are interested in getting involved with, those are ways that they can help. In terms of, calls for help, again, the social media, we could use some help with that. Be great if we could have, a fancier website. And then again, volunteering, tabling at local events to help get the word out there that we exist. Spread the word about the things that we're involved with. And then also anybody who wants to help onboard new members when people submit interests, or help with, Anna with the social events, that would also be nice. But next, in terms of, some cool things that our group has been involved with. And yes, hello, Cassie. I see you on Zoom. You can't unmute. That's okay. But yeah, Cassie's also a tenant at Columbia Point. So thank you for being here, Cassie. But yeah, so in terms of what we've done since last month, we actually did get featured in the news, which was kind of cool. Our last month's meeting got featured in the news. Our panel discussion on the Office of Inspector General and some of the comments that former County Executive Liz Bobo made, and also the Baltimore Brew reporter David Plymire, who we featured as a panelist. And so it's good to see that, whether we have a huge audience or not a huge audience, sometimes the things that we do get noticed and do have an impact. And I like to think that we did have somewhat of an impact on that public debate around an Office of Inspector General. Also, we Malik testified to the Human Rights Commission, or I'm sorry, he testified to the County Council on Human Rights Commission member appointment, which I'm sure he'll talk about a little bit more in his committee update. I testified on behalf of our Howard County in support of Councilmember Liz Walsh's Office of Inspector General bill. Something to look out for, maybe, might be another media appearance for Our Revolution Howard County. We're currently penning a response to a very lopsided op-ed about the recent controversial $140 million plus proposed lakefront library, tear down the existing Central Branch Library and replace it with that $140 million library. That was what our May meeting was about, or our June meeting was about. And so there's a piece that was, I call it a propaganda piece, in support of what the developer wants there. And so we are working on drafting a sort of a rebuttal to kind of, set the facts straight a little bit more. And then last, related to the Office of Inspector General. So, we did that last meeting about panel discussion about Office of Inspector General. And then we testified on it. And then a week or two later, all 5 council members came together and said, and they co-sponsored an amendment to the county charter to create an Office of Inspector General, so that it's not just by law, it's actually enshrined in the charter. And so again, all 5 council members unanimously came together in support of that, which is very rare in this county. They already voted in support of it. And so that amendment is going to be on the ballot for voters, Howard County voters, to vote on directly come November. And then I think Liz Walsh's bill is still going to be voted on maybe before that. That works out the details. So those are all things to look out for. Moving on to the treasurer's report. Is there any updates from the last month, or?
Yeah, we got an EIN number from the IRS so
Nice.
that we can convert our bank account to a club account.
Got it. Thank you.
So just we need you and Robert and I can go to the bank and get that set up.
Got it. Good to know. Thank you, Francis. And then Malik, if you want to talk about lots to talk about with what the Palestine Solidarity Committee's been up to.
Do we need to switch places?
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Yep. Good idea.
Yep. Yeah. All right. First off, thank you everyone for joining us today. Last month was a rather busy month for us. We had multiple testimonies at a few of our members and members of Howard County for a few Palestine at the local Board of Education, the County Council, and the Human Rights Commission, as you can see here at the County Council meeting, which I testify at as a member of our revolution. Specifically, we were talking about a few people who were vying to get appointed onto the Human Rights Commission, and we were not trying to testify against them or for them. Instead, we took the opportunity to try and educate them about the discrimination Palestinian Americans are facing, not just in Gaza, but here in Maryland, in Howard County. We talked about how a few students, they did some walkouts and they were discriminated against. We talked about how, they were dealing with censorship and whatnot. And all this is to say, we were hoping to educate the potential new HRC members to see if they could help us more than the current members have, which, if you guys are in the know, our group and Howard County for a Free Palestine have been testifying regularly at the HRC, and it has been well, let's just say it's been an interesting journey with them so far. So a few other events that we did last month. We did the Israelism screening, which had amazing turnout. I would say over 30 people. We wanted it to start at 6:45 p.m. But I showed up at 6:45 on the dot, and the room was packed. So I think this goes to show that despite everything you might see on the national level, there's very strong solidarity here in the local level. A few other things we did. We attended Howard County for Free Palestine and a few members of our run attended the Arrest Netanyahu March in DC, and we had an informal conversation on Palestine with activist Alice Rothschild and a member of the HoCo for Free Palestine, Reb Zihran, who's a writer, author, and an activist. Now, with all that being said, a few upcoming events that we will be having is on August 15th, we were going to have a political teaching about Zionism 101. I would say at this point, people have a pretty good understanding of what Zionism is, but this is a great opportunity to learn the history, what it means in this moment, and how we can stand in solidarity with Palestinian Americans against Zionism. So definitely join us at 6:45 p.m. For the Zionism 101 training. You remember Roth about where?
Yeah.
Elkridge Library. Yes, 6:45 p.m. at the Elkridge Library. We will send out an email for you guys about that. And what we really want to highlight is this month, August 22nd, we are going to have multiple people testifying at the local Board of Education about the censorship we mentioned. More information is going to come along the way, but without giving too much away, I will say this is not a meeting you want to miss. We are going to have some very interesting things occur on this meeting. With that being said, and again, there's one at 4 p.m. on the 22nd and at 7 p.m. The Board of Education cuts the testimony, so there's 5 people at 4 p.m. to testify and 5 people at 7 p.m. So we encourage you to show up either online or in person. More information will be sent your way. If I can move, okay, there we go. No, okay, there we are. So these are just a few pictures that we took with some of our events. First one is informal conversation that we mentioned. This in the middle is us in Washington D.C. marching to have Netanyahu arrested. And for some context, this was on July 24th when Netanyahu showed up in Congress to address lawmakers, which is insane, given the horrible war crimes that we're seeing. And finally, this is on the right, the Israelism stream. I think that is all we have for now. We're not having a HRC or a county council testimony thing happening this month because we believe both of them are in recess. But all that is to say, even if you're not testifying, we highly encourage you to show up at the Board of Education testimonies and to show up at the Zionism 101 teaching. More information will be sent to you guys, but at that point, I will pass the microphone on to Jake.
Thank you, Lee. Yeah, encourage people to definitely, show up to the Zionism 101 event on Thursday. And even if you didn't sign up to testify at the Board of Ed meetings, like Malik said, we're trying to do a big turnout to those. And so